So let me just start by saying your car uses an alternator to charge your battery. And that battery, especially as overlanders, gets used really hard. We have a lot of devices that demand power from it, from iPads, phones, camera equipment, refrigerators, inverters, all kinds of things. For us here at Expedition Overland, over the years, we've gone through a wide range of tools to basically keep that battery managed well. So if we go way back, let's start 10 years ago. We had computers that we needed to haul around with big hard drive systems to shoot our series. Well, we had the basic dual battery systems, I think, in one truck, but we ended up not being able to maintain those batteries in the field. So the first thing we did was buy this Honda Generator 1000i. The reason we went with the generator was that we could fuel it and produce power, and we could run it through the night. We could plug in a tender to the vehicle, and while we were running the hard drives, working on our computers, it was keeping the battery topped off, and then through the night, it could make sure that the battery by morning was 100%. And it worked pretty well. The drawbacks are you have to run a generator all night. You have a separate little engine that you're using. You have to deal with the noise. It's heavy. You got to maintain it. But it did work. So some features to look for in a generator. Unleaded gasoline, obviously, is the choice for most of us. We use a 1000i. That has been sufficient power for all of our needs 90% of the time. There's only been a couple situations in 10 years where we thought we could have used more, but we were able to get around it anyway. The I, when you see like the Honda 1000i, stands for having the ability to have synwave electricity come from the generator. A generator without synwave technology doesn't put out consistent smooth power. The curve doesn't look like this. That's synwave. The curve looks like this on the power output. So having a generator with synwave technology, basically it regulates that power and puts clean, smooth power out to especially sensitive materials like computers, hard drives, etc. So I would highly recommend looking for a generator that has that tech in it. And I honestly wouldn't buy anything else that doesn't. Do you need more than a 1000i? Well, that just depends on your power applications. Perhaps the 2000 is where you're at. Rarely have I ever seen anybody else need anything greater unless you're running an earth roamer or something big. For most of us, the 1000 is going to be sufficient. A generator can be beneficial in other ways as well. It's portable power. You can pack this around and put power where you need it, not having to rely on a vehicle. We use that in particular in Guatemala when we were working with the Team 5 Foundation. When we had to provide lights for a surgery, we were running a generator. Another way to do that, and another use for auxiliary power, is like a Goal Zero system. We've used these in the past as well. They're more of a passive generator. They're a silent generator, and we do like using those they're nice in the campground, frankly, because you don't have the sound of a generator. And we all get out into the woods, you know, to have solace. So I do like these. They have their place. Maybe it's a good solution for you. The other thing that we've used too is the National Uno Power Pack. And we had one of those integrated into one of our, it was Rufio, the first integration of Rufio, so that we could remove the power pack from the battery, the secondary power from Rufio, and use it to go down to a river and charge a water filtration system. Beyond that, we kind of got to the point, especially in our South America series, where we were like, you know what, let's try to get away from the alternator or the generator and just see if we could rid that from our system. So we ended up doing that. when what we did was we beefed up our batteries. We went from a battery like this to better, like the better Odyssey batteries, and some of them just bigger, had more amp hour and more capacity. We essentially deepened the well of the power that we could haul or carry around throughout the day. Now, in South America, we were traveling great distances throughout the day. That allowed that alternator to work throughout the day, charge up the power systems, and we didn't really have any problem. Plus, we had deep reserves of power by using the big batteries. Drawbacks there were price. Big batteries are expensive. Still weight, though looking at this, between this and the fuel that we carried separately just to run a generator, the weight of a bigger battery was probably comparable. And the benefit was that we had full-time power always ready from a bigger battery. So I would say that when we moved from a generator system to the bigger battery system, that it was a good move. We also, in the recent years, have been able to maximize our rechargeability and our performance when it comes to making sure that these batteries stay healthy. That's a big deal. We used to go through batteries a lot. And year after year, that became like a line item that we put on our list because we just knew that we were going to toast batteries every year. So about every year, we were spending over $1,000 replacing batteries until we got into the Odysseys. And then eventually we got into the RedArc systems when RedArc came on as a sponsor for us. Between those two things, batteries have become a non-issue for us for the most part at this point, except for certain situations. And those situations have been found in slow-moving conditions and in long-duration stopped campouts, or when the vehicle is just parked for a while, either at an expo, a show, a campsite, or being ready to get shipped somewhere. So we have found that despite our new battery systems there, they still are deficient in the long-term game. So that is where we have migrated finally. I mean, it's taken years for us to get into the solar panel energy supplement game through solar. We definitely saw power problems creep up for the first time on our return to the McKinsey expedition. We were moving so slow that the alternators in the vehicles that we have at the time, the 4Runner and the Tacoma in particular, the alternators need a certain RPM from the engine to put out peak performance. And we were idling for days. So we were just never topping off the batteries. And the reason we were idling so much is because we were having to top off batteries to keep our film production going on those expeditions. About day 5, we were on a shoestring every single day with our power. And so much so that we were even running the generator at the time, couldn't keep up. It was at that time when we really started to look towards a solar system that when we are going slow on the trail, we would be getting supplemental power because the alternator can't put it out. So since then, fast forward last 2 years, and in particular this year, we have installed solar panels on a couple trucks and have gotten a couple panels that RedArc sent us from their supplies to give a try. The power that we will ask of them will probably range between like 60 watts to 150, 200 watts max. To see the benefit out of a small panel, it has to be a great day. It has to be indirect sunlight pointed right at it. A larger panel is going to be able to take more light in because of surface area and produce more power even on a non-optimal day of sunlight, or maybe it's not pointed in the exact direction that it needs to be. So I can foresee us using the larger panels more often because we're going to be relying on it to supply our power systems even on those non-optimal sunlight days. This year we have 2 versions. We have a blanket soft panel that folds up. This is a 150 watt panel. And we also went with a semi-rigid panel from Overland Solar to put on the top of our Jeep Gladiator. The Gladiator is the first time that we have installed some sort of permanent solar panel on top of a vehicle. And the reason we did that is, for one, it was easy for us to do. We are using the RedArc Manager 30 inside the Gladiator, and it has a solar input built in. And it also has a green priority built in. So if we're getting adequate sunlight from the solar panel, it will charge the batteries off of the solar panel before it works the alternator, which is just smart thinking. Beyond that, our other vehicles are using these as well, the BCDC 1240s. RedArc just launched a BCDC 1250 for 50 amp charging, so quick charging. But these have also solar integration into them with green priority. So all of our trucks over the last couple of years have had this installed. So going to a solar panel system was easy. It was plug and play. I don't anticipate it to be an end-all problem solver. But we have seen in the Patriot camper that we got this year on the X1H with the hardtop and the solar panel on top of it, it can run that trailer in perpetuity, indefinitely. As long as the battery and the systems hold up, it will charge itself. That's been pretty awesome. We park it outside and it just works. And we want that in our other vehicles. We're moving now towards lithium batteries. There's a huge benefit to lithium batteries. Larger capacity, more usable capacity in the same amp hour of battery, quicker recharge times, consistent voltage, and sometimes a third of the weight. All of those are huge things. The drawback is the cost. So we're making those purchases where necessary, where we're really going to see the benefit of the weight savings plus all that other stuff. We recognize that we are in a special circumstance with shooting Expedition Overland in our productions. We have really specific power needs. Lithium may not be the answer for you, but for us, man, we're seeing that this is probably the future when it comes to power systems. For us, this has been the power systems that we've got to. Started with the generator, eventually went to a bigger battery system, and now finally we're using a bigger battery system with smart chargers and solar panels to manage our Expedition trucks on big trips.